The press conference was packed. Rows of reporters sat with their laptops open, fingers hovering over keyboards, waiting for something worth writing about. Cameras were already rolling, locked onto the podium where Trump was about to speak. The room hummed with quiet conversation, but underneath it all, there was an energy, like everyone knew something big could happen at any moment. Veterans sat among the audience, some wearing jackets that told their stories better than words ever could. Trump stepped up, straightened his tie, and began talking. He covered policies, plans, and promises, just like he had done 100 times before. Most of the press had heard it all before. But for one man in the crowd, this wasn't just another speech. It was personal. A veteran, his face lined with experience, stood up. His voice cut through the room like a sharp knife. Mr. President, I've given my life to this country. My brothers and sisters in uniform have too. But I need to know, will you stand by us when it matters most? Everything stopped. Reporters froze mid-type. Secret Service took a small step forward, just in case. The veteran's words hung in the air, heavy and real. And then, something no one expected happened. Trump didn't wave him off. He didn't move on to the next question. Instead, he left the podium. He stepped down, one slow step at a time, closing the space between him and the man who had just challenged him in front of the world. The room was silent. No one knew what was going to happen next. Trump stood face to face with the veteran. The cameras zoomed in. The press braced for headlines. And then, in a moment that would be talked about for weeks, Trump spoke, not from behind a microphone, not from a script, but directly to the man in front of him. The exchange that followed left everyone stunned. The handshake that came after set the internet on fire. And what happened in the days after? That's where the real story began. The room is packed, the air thick with anticipation. Trump steps up to the podium, adjusting his tie slightly as he looks over the crowd. His expression is firm, controlled. He's done this 1,000 times before. But today, it's different. He's speaking on an issue that directly affects those who've served: veteran health care, military pensions, and benefits. The stakes are high, and every person in the room knows it. Scattered throughout the audience are veterans, their faces marked by years of service. Some sit quietly, arms crossed, listening intently. Others lean forward, hanging on every word, waiting to hear if their sacrifices will be recognized in more than just words. Outside this room, thousands of veterans across the country are tuned in, watching the broadcast, hoping for real answers. The press is ready. Rows of journalists sit shoulder to shoulder, their laptops open, fingers hovering over keyboards, ready to capture every statement. Cameras are trained on Trump, waiting for a moment that could turn into tomorrow's headline. A single misstep, a single phrase taken the wrong way, could set off a storm. Everyone in this room is aware of it. What no one knows yet is that the real story won't come from the podium, it will come from the crowd. And it's about to unfold in front of them all. A chair scrapes against the floor. Heads turn. A man in his early 60s rises from his seat. His Marine Corps jacket is worn, the colors faded, but the weight of what it represents is unmistakable. Jack Delaney, a veteran with 3 tours overseas, a man who has seen war up close and lived to tell about it. His posture is straight, but there's something in his eyes, something heavy. This moment isn't just about policy or politics for him. It's personal. His voice cuts through the room. Strong, clear, unshaken. Mr. President, I've given my life to this country. My brothers and sisters in uniform have too. But I need to know, will you stand by us when it matters most? For a moment, everything stops. The clatter of keyboards, the clicking of cameras, silenced. Even the air feels still. No one is sure if this is just another outburst or something much bigger. Reporters glance at each other. Security stiffens. The cameras refocus, sensing that something is about to unfold. Trump, mid-sentence, pauses. His eyes lock onto the veteran. There's no teleprompter to guide him now. No script. Just a question that demands an answer. The weight of the room shifts, and for the first time in this press conference, it's not Trump controlling the moment, it's Jack. For the first time in the conference, Trump doesn't have a quick response. He just stares at Jack. The room, once filled with the sounds of reporters typing and cameras clicking, is now silent. The air is thick with tension. Even the Secret Service agents, always alert but discreet, seem to shift slightly, ready for anything. Then, in a move no one expects, Trump does something rare. He steps away from the podium. Not just a small step. He walks toward Jack. The sound of his shoes against the floor is the only thing anyone hears. Every step is deliberate. Every second drags. The press watches in stunned silence. Presidents don't leave the podium mid-conference. This isn't how these events go. Now, just a few feet apart, Trump and Jack stand face to face. The crowd, the cameras, the reporters, they all fade into the background. For a moment, it's not about politics or speeches. It's about two men, both shaped by different battles, staring each other down. The weight of Jack's words hangs between them. The room is waiting for Trump's next move. For the first time, Trump's voice lacks its usual sharpness. There's no defense, no counterattack. Instead, his words come out slower, almost personal. "You really think I don't stand by you?" His tone isn't the one people expect from him. There's something different. Jack doesn't flinch. He's spent years facing tougher situations than this. His voice is steady, controlled. "I've seen too many promises, Mr. President. Too many handshakes, too many speeches. And too many soldiers left behind." The weight of his words isn't just for Trump. It's for every veteran watching, every service member who's felt forgotten. The room stays still. Reporters barely blink. Secret Service doesn't move. It's not the usual back and forth of politics. It's something real. A standoff, not of power, but of truth. Then, Trump says something no one expects. "I don't know if you believe me, but I've been trying. Trying to fix this for people like you. For those who've given everything." His voice doesn't carry the usual bravado. It's stripped down raw, like he's breaking away from the speech he planned to give. It's not rehearsed. It's not calculated. It's just real. Jack doesn't react right away. No nod, no visible approval, just a deep breath as he absorbs Trump's words. The weight of the moment lingers. He's heard promises before. He's seen speeches turn into headlines and then fade away. But something about this feels different. Or at least, it feels like it could be. Then, Trump does something no one expected. He extends his hand. Not a politician's handshake, not a quick photo-op grab, but a solid, steady reach. "I'll do everything I can to fix this for you. For them." His voice carries no theatrics, just a rare moment of sincerity. The room collectively holds its breath. Jack looks at Trump's hand, then grips it, firm, unwavering. It's not a handshake of agreement. It's a handshake of challenge, of accountability. A silent understanding that words mean nothing without action. Cameras flash. The moment spreads like wildfire. Within minutes, social media is flooded with clips. News headlines explode. Trump confronted by veteran. Does he keep his word? Opinions are divided. Some call it real. Others call it staged. But one thing is certain. Veteran struggles are now front and center. The question now is, what happens next? Jack never wanted to be in the spotlight. He wasn't looking for headlines or viral moments. He just wanted answers. But now, he's become a symbol. Veterans across the country see themselves in him. They share his frustration, his doubt, his hope. Social media is flooded with messages from soldiers, families, and advocates. Some say this moment could spark real change. Others aren't so sure. The public is split. Some believe Trump's words were genuine, that this could be the turning point for veteran care in the country. Others remain skeptical. They've seen promises before, seen the attention fade once the cameras stop rolling. The real question lingers. Was this just another political moment, or will something actually change? In the weeks that follow, the pressure doesn't ease. Policies affecting veterans are suddenly at the center of debate. Lawmakers are pushed to act. The media keeps the conversation alive, demanding answers. Jack's voice doesn't fade away. If anything, it grows louder. But will that be enough to turn words into action? That handshake wasn't just a gesture, it meant something. It was a silent promise, a moment that couldn't be ignored. One veteran stood up, and suddenly, An entire nation was listening. Jack didn't just ask a question. He forced a conversation that needed to happen. The struggles of veterans, the promises made to them, and the responsibility of leaders, none of it could be brushed aside anymore. But here's the real test. Words can be powerful, but only actions prove them right or wrong. No promise should go untested. No voice should be ignored. What happens next will decide if this was just another viral moment or the start of real change. Now, it's your turn. Do you think this was a genuine exchange or just another moment of politics? Let's talk in the comments. And if you believe in real change for veterans, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. More stories like this are coming soon.